Hi, good afternoon. So, I just want to do a very quick activity with a show of hands, a simple show of hands. So, hands up if you've ever been really, really motivated one day, or you've felt motivated to do something, maybe a project or something big in your life, and then the next day you just feel like, yeah, I don't really want to do that anymore. Yeah, we're all like that. And then hands up if you've had to work on something you have a deadline for, and you know it's really important, yet you can't take yourself away from Netflix or doom scrolling on your phone. Yeah. Now, you may have seen the title say motivation expert. Now, I don't claim to be an expert on everything to do with motivation, but as a PhD holder in that subject, people have approached me at conferences and said, "Oh, you're the motivation lady, you're the motivation expert." And I have to sometimes either laugh at myself or take a step back and think, wait, sorry, are you talking about me? Have you seen what I do at home? I'm the least motivated person ever, if you know me, okay? Some of my friends even call me lazy. I mean, I don't agree with that, but they do. So some of those reasons that I just spoke about, and of course with others, are what inspired me to work for 8 years, traveling to different places, going across the Middle East, learning about what motivates people, especially in really difficult times, such as post-conflict eras. And I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about it. But I still have my days when I want to binge watch something on Netflix or, doom scroll. Because, I'm a human too. But what I do want to share with you is something that has reshaped how I see motivation forever. And it's both simple and complex. And here's why. So I will divide my talk into 3 parts. First of all, let's talk about how motivation is not a trait, it's a system. What do I mean? So I started to research about complexity theory and more specifically, complex dynamic systems theory. Now, if you're in the field of physics or mathematics, you might be thinking, yeah, I've heard of that, I know that theory. But it has also been applied to fields such as education, human development, HR, or in my case, applied linguistics and educational psychology. So don't get scared, it's not some really complicated theory, okay? Stay with me. When we view motivation as through this lens of CDST, or complex dynamic systems theory, we understand that actually we are like systems, okay? Motivation is not a fixed trait. It's something which ebbs and flows like the sea. It's something which self-organizes like a flock of birds. We are like weather patterns, we are like ecosystems, okay? And there's nothing straightforward about it at all. So some of the terms we use in this theory are non-linear, interconnected, and evolving. And that's us. That's what we're constantly doing. We're all interconnected, we're all evolving, and we're definitely not in a straight line. And to talk about this further, I just want you to imagine for a second a marble, a glass marble, okay? So as I said, we're influenced by everything what's going on around us, and we're shaped by both external and internal factors. That's the simple part. So imagine now you have a bowl, or a basin, as the theory says. You have a basin, and you drop your marble into that basin and observe the pattern, okay? So just visualize that for a second, your marble in a bowl. Now, in a positive attractor state, as we call it, in terms of motivation, this is when you're going to feel like, yeah, I have high energy, I'm motivated to do my task, and you have a lot of positive self-talk going on. But also your marble can settle into a low energy pattern, sink into the bottom of the bowl, or in some cases, depending on how the bowl is held or where the bowl is, if it's inside, outside, it can tip into a whole new bowl. Now, apologies for this very simple diagram, but it is what it is. So I would like to then ask you to think about where your marble is. That's quite a strange question. Maybe you weren't anticipating being asked that today. But where is your marble? What's happening in your attractor state right now? Is it going in a nice positive direction? Is it settling at the bottom of the bowl? Which brings me on to the second part. Now, you may be thinking, okay, so sometimes I'm in a negative attractor state. We all are. But how can I get out of it? Give me something from this talk to tell me, like, how can I shift my marble? Well, to do that, we need to understand that our system is full of not only outside and inside influences, it's full of subsystems too. And I've put a few of them on the screen right here. So, of course, we are affected by cognitive subsystems, such as the beliefs and goals surrounding that task. Let's think of, for example, passing an exam. There's a lot of cognitive subsystem going on there, obviously. Emotional. You may be feeling extreme anxiety about a certain thing. You may be not interested at all. You may be super interested. It depends. We have a lot of contextual factors here, such as environment, the course structure, what's going on in your university, and so on. And we also have what I think is one of the biggest factors, is social. Peer influence, teacher rapport, the people in your life. Okay. So I want to share a quick story with you from when I was in high school many years ago. Please don't do the math on that. And I want you to think about which of these subsystems would be coming into play in my story. So it was the day when I was collecting my high school results. And in the UK, you know, you're given, I don't know if they're still doing this because it was many years ago, but you're given an envelope with your results in them. And when I opened my envelope, the teacher, who I would like to say he never really liked me, but he never liked anyone, actually. He also gave me an application form. And when I inspected the application form, it was for a fast food restaurant, of which I won't say the name. And I said, "Sir, I'm sorry, did you leave this with my results by mistake?" He said, "No." He said, "If you're lucky, they might take you for a job." And I just remember being so shocked and thinking, like, well, what does one think in this situation, you know? So have a think about which of these subsystems was going on here. Fast forward a few years, and then I went to an open day at my local university. Now, you can imagine my marble was right in the bottom of the bowl. Having been given this application form and kind of him telling me that's as far as you're going to go in life. I didn't really want to attend university, I'll be honest. And when I went to this open day with my friend, this woman approached me. And the first thing, and the thing I'll always remember about this woman, is her energy. She had a really glowing energy. And she approached me and she said, "Hi, what are you thinking of studying?" And I said, "I don't know, but I just want to get out of this town and I want to do something interesting and something amazing." And she had this huge smile on her face and she said, "Come and have a chat with me." She said, "Because you look like you can do something amazing." That totally changed my mindset. And she became my biggest cheerleader. She became my professor on my course at university. And the whole, let's say, path of my life just changed from there. Fast forward 25 years. And here I am on this stage in Beirut, which is a very unexpected thing for me. But I'm so happy to be here, by the way. And I earned a lot more qualifications than that high school teacher ever considered I could do, which I'm happy to say. And I've also, of course, had ups and downs, ebbs and flows, as the system tells us. And each thing that's happened in my life has rewired my motivation. Each disruption has sent me on a different path. Okay? That's where the complexity comes in again. And it brings me to part 3 of my talk. You can't hack motivation, but you can influence it. So I'm really sorry to say, if you're looking for a quick fix or something to, instant motivation, it's not something that can be bought from TikTok shop or, some influencer like, come with me as we get motivated. It doesn't work that way. Unfortunately, I wish it did. Because motivation is anything but a straight line, okay? It's anything but a straight line. It ebbs and flows, it comes and goes, and it's a dance. It's like a dance of habits, of hope, of fear, of rejection, of everything that comes in your path to put you and kick your system into a different pattern, let's say. But what I do want to share with you before I leave this stage are 3 truths that I've found about motivation, and hopefully they can mean something to you. If you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like your marble is in the bottom of the bowl, ask yourself, just ground yourself. And I do this with my students as well, and I'm apologizing if I've got any of my students here because you've heard this a million times. Ground yourself and ask yourself, where are you right now? And what's going on with your system? What's happening to your marble? And what are the outside influences that can either keep your marble in a positive pattern or shift your marble into a different bowl? Motivation grows in context. Ask yourself, who are you surrounding yourself with? Have you heard the theory like you are the average of the 5 people closest to you? Yeah. CDSD supports that. It's about interaction. It's about your environment. So if you're not feeling that the people who are closest to you, as hard as it can be sometimes, are motivating you, maybe you need to change your surroundings a little bit. And you don't need to be perfect. You absolutely don't need to be perfect. You don't need to strive for perfection, but you just need to be aware of your system and make the necessary tweaks to make sure that your system is in a high energy pattern, let's say. And I can talk about that in the break if anyone has any questions, or of course you can read publications. So I just want to ask you right now, and of course answer personally to yourself. What's happening in your system? Where is your marble? And what tiny thing could you do to change it if you feel it needs to be shifted into a different bowl? And my final words are, you are not lazy, you are not broken, you are not a machine, you are a system, and systems can and do evolve. Thank you.